Y'all ready to go?
I'm ready to go.
If I knew the words better, I would definitely give you the poison beginning there, But I don't really know how that goes. All right, well,
They don't know. They don't fucking know, dog.
They couldn't know at all. Welcome everybody to the Kasson Avenue podcast. I'm your host Adam, here with my brother Osama. Dog is here tripping in the corner, and my YouTube page is really taking a long time to load. But as soon as it does, it is episode number 159.
159, bro.
159. Unfortunately, I just am not ready with that.
I don't know how you're not.
Well, now
No, you're like them. Yo, speaking of them, who are those people? I'll tell you who those people
Who
are.
are the them that you
The
refer to?
motherfucker. How do we get... I just want to put this into perspective. Last week's episode, our comment section, right? We got a lot of comments. But we got 4 comments within like the first hour about our feet, but not one extra subscriber.
Hey, man, listen.
If you're gonna objectify me,
Homeboy said that he had to learn English to watch us.
well, you better learn to say in your language to your people around you to learn English to watch our shit.
But that tells me something.
What?
He says that he actually listens to some degree,
All I know is if you're gonna watch, subscribe. If you're gonna objectify me, at least give me a little bit of what the incentive or the small incentive we do have.
To Mike's point, right? We didn't make anything. They're just trolling us anyway.
Mike said we made it. Made what?
And that's it. We're just being harassed. It was up all night, getting harassed. You walk around on both legs, not both feet.
He said Homo erectus. Did I just say homo?
I didn't mean that. That's hilarious. We're now. I was gonna say we're 8 billion people officially, right? According to whatever source I read that from.
Fucking people.
And we're still not any closer to 300.
Yo, that makes it worse.
It makes me want to go and like figure out who all of our subscribers are, so that the people on my Facebook page, when I post and yo, I would like to go and just punch them all in the jejunum.
I'd like to
How come you ain't hit subscribe? That's all you got to do.
In the small intestine? Anyway, I'd like to know how they know the 8 billionth person was born. Right? Who was on site for that? Like, did they know? Were they in the hospital like...
Well, yeah, because
it's a race.
When was the last census? When was the last census? Isn't that usually when they find out what the population?
I feel like we're grossly underestimating the actual population of this world.
I think somebody else created a Facebook account and they were like, 8 billion. The ticker rolled over. Is
it like an odometer on the fucking car? How is that possible? I think it's weird to think.
Stop fucking people. At least just fuck with condoms.
Like, how did they
Contraceptives are important.
Were all of the people that were born, were all the babies born, and considered possibly the 8 billionth? How did they decipher who? Or did they just say it happened?
I mean, I gotta assume they have this sounds a little bit morbid, but I'm sure they have medical records where each time somebody passes and each time somebody is born, and they have a check mark, right?
I don't know that is answering my question though. All I'm wondering is well,
that would answer your question. You know how many people are coming in or how many people are coming out? Yeah, but there's probably a database. How there's the Weather Channel? They get it from the World Weather Center.
Is it just an estimate? Is it just okay, well, by our calculations today, the 8 billionth person will be born? Because I find it almost impossible.
I don't think it's based on projections. You know what I always thought was weird?
It's got to be based on projections. Have you
ever gone into a new town and then the sign up there says population 62,307? Who updates the sign? Do they have one for every number and they can just pop a new sign up every day?
I'm gonna say I think we're closer to the 9 billion mark. There's a lot of people that can't be accounted for.
I don't think so.
How many people? So that you tell me they've gone to all of these tribes in all of these third world nations. And they've gone and they've asked, how many people are in your village, sir? And they got an actual answer? Or without
I don't know how they do it.
Do you remember in Ace Ventura When Nature Calls, where the sign of respect was as much phlegm as they possibly can? And they all came out phlegmy as shit? Chicago. You're out of here. He's like, Chicago. That's it. You're out of here.
Chicago. Your balls are showing.
Chicago. No, I'm just saying there's no way that they've actually gone to all of these tribes or, what have you, villages or places that aren't.
I don't know how they
even
do
on
it.
a map.
I don't know how they
How
do
many
it.
people just live and they're not mapped? They're not in the topography of, or within the topography of what people have mapped.
The way that they go about, I mean, literally, the only way that I can see like a legitimate possible, just like the closest that they can get to it is through the deaths and births. Is the only way.
So you think,
Like, and
also,
obviously,
well,
to some degree, you're
my-
right. Like,
my-
how do you keep track of that in like the smaller,
That's what I'm saying. That,
third world?
What are you telling me?
You know,
my point still
bury
rings
in
true.
under, whatever. But like,
My point still rings true.
I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm just saying like the closest way that they can ballpark it has to be via hospitals, or like. And it's hard because like I know here you have to like have a birth certificate and you get assigned a social security number.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying.
But like does not.
You just said it through hospitals. Not everybody dies through a hospital.
Well, true, but there's usually a death certificate. Like
Not
there's a birth
always.
certificate.
What I'm saying is,
Well, that's
do you
what I'm
think that
saying.
happens in these nations? That
Maybe they just don't count those. So maybe we are at 9 billion.
I'm saying we're probably closer to 9 billion.
Maybe they
than
just don't
fucking 8 billion.
count the population in those places. Like we can't go here without them trying to like shoot us with things, and we just let's not go there.
It's too many people fucking, right?
Like there's like a little island off of like New York somewhere in the Pacific, right?
Yep.
No, it's Atlantic, right?
Yep.
Yeah. There you go. And there's like whatever the natives are there, they don't like you to be there if you're not like from there, right?
Oh, they'll
like,
shoot at you, bow and arrows and shit.
Yeah.
They've
Like
done
people
that.
have tried to go there and then they've killed them.
Yeah.
So like there's certain places you legitimately just cannot try to track their population because they won't let you anywhere near them.
Okay, so basically you're for my answer.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm saying I just don't. In order for them to get any kind of ballpark figure, they have to go with birth certificates, death certificates. Like it's the only real way. Maybe they just count all the NATO and G8 countries. Right?
How many people do you think have ever existed within our
That's an obscene question.
recordable?
What kind of nonsense is that?
Within our recordable time period, within this period of time, right?
like since like Jesus?
Well, when the hell did Jesus exist?
Evidently 2022 years ago. Isn't that how it works?
Oh, this is
AD.
AD. So after.
Isn't that a fucked up
What
way
is
to
AD?
keep track of
What is-
things
it's-
before Christ and
it's
after
AC.
death?
After death.
Yeah.
Who the hell named that? Why would? Well, what
the
are we gonna name
whites.
this? Sure, well, after that, you said the whites.
The whites.
Like after dead.
Yeah, I don't know how they went about doing all that.
So do you think that like cemeteries, right?
Yeah.
If, for instance, here's a terrible thought, but what if in fact there is an afterlife, right? And there's a spiritual world and
Right.
all of these things, right?
Yes.
Because it's the possibility of it being a thing and the possibility of it not being a thing.
As
are
I always
equal.
say, everything is a theory until it's proven.
Yeah.
Or disproven.
What if, right? What we've done is, since they're gated off, right? Well, not all of them. You ever been to one of those small towns where there's a cemetery in the middle? You're like, that's fucking weird.
Dude, they have them in Illinois. You go like north and you're like, on your way to Wisconsin and you pass through one of these weird little. And yeah, it's like that.
I find cemeteries to be weird already.
They are.
I don't really go in them.
There's that Eminem line where he's like, I'm not ready to leave. I was too scared to die. Rather be carried inside a cemetery and buried alive. You know that? Remember that one?
Yes.
What coming to going? I can barely decide. Yeah, no, I would never want that.
Listen.
I'd rather die than be carried inside a cemetery and buried alive.
Don't
Fuck
even
that.
think about that. But what I'm saying is, if we happen to bring our dead in there and we bury them, right?
Right, which we do.
If they're apparently if you're through all I've seen in movies is that ghosts can go through things. So you put them in this box and they're just like, that's I guess where they sleep. But think about it.
So you become a vampire after you die. Essentially.
What if we basically lock them in? Right, so they're in this big cemetery. So they're all in there. Everybody's in there just commingling in the afterlife, but they can't leave. I just find it to be weird.
It's extraordinarily weird.
Let's say it's real.
Personally,
That's
I would
happening.
prefer cremation after death.
I think cremation is probably the
And
way
just
to go.
go and throw me off the mountain somewhere. You know, let me just fly. And
Just let you fly
yeah.
just into dust.
Somehow, the ash just stays together and it just it goes everywhere together. Like it's like a fucking ghost flying around and shit.
You're like, oh, my dick went that way.
No, that people's mind.
Like, imagine if that was a thing, right? Cremation's cool until they decide what they want to do.
There's not enough answers to these questions. Like, I understand. Like,
well, let's just have a little fun and answer them ourselves.
I was dying laughing. I was watching The Simpsons, right? And they, to some degree, you understand why people are like mad about Apu.
I get it, but he
was like,
okay. To be fair, Apu was a small business owner, right? He seemed to be doing okay for himself.
No, listen, so
he had 12 kids.
They made some joke about like
Apu Nahasa Hima Pedalan.
They made some joke about like when you die, that's it. You're only done once, and he's like, not me.
I do remember that.
I was like, that's kind of hilarious. I ain't gonna lie.
All right. Well, that's a thing too. What about cremation? Right? They put you in the wind. And
yeah, but like there's certain religious factors that will tell you, oh, well, that's not good either because if you are
now we breathe you in.
Like, I don't know, just some weird. I don't know, man. I don't know enough about like.
You. That's what you should do. Plant you and smoke you.
Yeah,
that'd be cool because then you can.
Damn, Ivory. After all these years,
have a finite. You know, I don't get about that movie. How High? Remember when he threw the last of the ivory in? They've been failing all these classes.
He had a whole pound essentially. Still.
Yeah, man.
I always think about that. I'm like,
why didn't you just smoke that before? You wouldn't even be in this mess.
It's like, no, we ain't got no more goddamn plant. Like, you had a shit ton of plant. I don't know what you're talking about.
Like, there was mad plant left. Okay. All right, so.
Plot holes. Method Man, Red Man. What y'all doing?
I think cremation is the way to go. I think it is.
I would. It's less. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's like. I don't even want to think about it. Whatever you do with my body when it's done, I ain't here no more, man. Have a fucking field day. Like,
you know, so I live.
Harvest my organs, and you know, like somebody needs an arm, and my arm seems like it's in good shape for you. Just take that shit.
That's how that works. You want this dead guy's arm? I don't think that works. I think it's just
if they made it possible.
I think it's just organs.
If they made it possible, like you know how they
imagine somebody walking around with somebody else's arm, and it's obvious as shit.
We got an arm for you. If you could be cryogenically frozen,
but it might be an issue.
If you could be cryogenically frozen, would you do it?
Dude, I heard about like a whole bunch of people just did that recently.
Really?
Yeah, these fucking retards. What
so
the hell
are those people included in the census?
Right. And then they're going to be a burden for the next. So they basically put themselves in cryogenically being frozen somewhere, and they're now just hoping that.
I got to that thought because, like, you know, when they like. You know when they show like just the head frozen or like it's in that solution, whatever, and like it's all Simpsons shit pretty much. But like,
they've called it though, so it might work. I guess if you're really going off somebody's like, if you're like, man, I wonder if that works. I'd like to see if I can be the person that works with. The only way I say that you might say, you know what, this might be a possibility, is if you go and you happen to find a Simpsons episode where they did it successfully. Do not.
I'm pretty sure they did do it successfully.
Well, then you should do it. I'm not going to do it.
I will trust the Simpsons. So you wouldn't do it if somebody was like, yo, cry like Fry from Futurama.
Who the fuck names their kid Fry?
I don't know. Fry's Electronics. Somebody clearly named their kid Fry in real life. They made an electronics store. You know. So if they were like, "Yo, I'm gonna freeze you for 1,000 years," would you do it? Nobody. You wouldn't. Let's say.
Okay, so here's what I gotta.
You would probably have to change your scenario, right? Like, all right. You don't really have many connections to many people. You're one of those people who like you don't really have family. You know, you're kind of like a loner in life, and you're like, I wonder what the future holds.
Like in 1,000 years. Would I do that? Is what you're saying? Mm-hmm. All right. So here's a question I gotta ask right before I go. Like, okay,
let's build the scenario.
Does it hurt if I can't? Like, at some point, do I wake up? Okay. Here's the question.
Dr. Evil from Austin Powers type shit.
Is it possible to wake up dead, right? Here. So they undo it and I just die.
Now you bring me to Scary Movie. Like, you can't wake up dead. Like, well, I was living when I went to sleep. That's some quantum shit right there.
No, okay. So if I just was in a position where maybe it's towards the end of my life, you know, and I'm not, maybe not.
So you're like 85 and you're like, I just want to see what the future's like.
I don't want to be cryogenically frozen with ailments and shit. Like, I guess if you're going to
If I was like on my deathbed and you were like, all right, listen, you probably have like about a week. We can either let you live this week out now or freeze you and you could see what the future's like in 1,000 years and then you'll pass probably like a week when you are unfrozen.
I mean, if I'm thinking if I can be successfully uncryogenically frozen, then I'm sure that there's some medical advancements that might help me in 1,000 years.
That's true. Or the world can really just be an apocalypse
Drink
now
this.
type of shit.
Oh, I mean, there's two different fucking. This is only gonna go two ways, baby. Good or bad. I 100% on my deathbed. I'm doing it. I'm like, yeah, fuck it. Let's see what happens.
Let's do that shit, man. But
Technically, I'll grow
in 1,000 years. I don't see like the Earth being where we reside anymore. You know, like they found a way to
wake up and nobody's on Earth. You're like, ah, shit.
like so the power cord just finally died and you become unfrozen.
And then you wake up.
Where's everybody at, man?
It turns out they can do that as easy as shit. But you wake up and everybody left.
Like we just leave this guy here.
With your luck or with our luck, like everybody would have been like woke up, right? Like everybody got out, but something like held our latch down a little bit. Like what the fuck?
We wake up and only have like a bunch of shoe lover comments.
Imagine like actually being cryogenically frozen in the same place and somehow having a time lapse camera of those 1,000 years and just seeing what happened. You might live through different civilizations and not even know it.
They have like a different evolution of like what a human looks like.
We just decided not to destroy this building with this dude in it.
And in 1,000 years,
you're their god.
in 1,000 years,
you wake up, they're like,
so you're like a pharaoh or some shit like that. You're actually like, in 1,000 years, the human evolution can change.
Shit.
What if all of a sudden, like you wake up and like now people have 3 eyes? They got 4 arms like Goro and shit. Like the whole human evolution has changed over 1,000 years.
That will be fucking.
Humans
terrible.
are living in the ocean now. Dolphins living on land. It's all
Dolphins living on land.
Yeah.
Dolphins living on land would be terrible. They'd be raping everybody.
It's another.
Dolphins are fucking terrible things.
Another Simpsons thing, man.
I think they're like.
I've been watching too much Simpsons.
Dolphins are like Sour Patch Kids.
They're sour and then they're sweet.
Yeah.
Are they sweet?
No, they're sweet.
I think they're just sour.
No,
they're like warheads.
Well, I think they're the opposite of Sour Patch Kids then, because they are sweet. They'll be nice to you, and then out of nowhere they'll just start fucking humping you. You seen those videos?
Dolphins are nasty, but they're like you're one of your best friends in the ocean if you're like stuck out there in open water. You know, you hope to see a dolphin. Like, let me just get the sharks away from me with this guy.
You know, the idea of like, you know, those scuba thingies, whatever, where like they take you out in the middle of the ocean, and then the movie where they forget the 2 people, like those stories.
How do you forget me?
I think. I don't know. I would be very, very
I don't think that
vigilant.
I don't think it's a coincidence if they forget you there. They left you there on
We
purpose.
didn't like those motherfuckers.
Somebody
anyway.
paid them like.
So when we went to Mexico the first time this year, we were on the catamaran.
First time. It's a privilege.
I work.
The catamaran.
So
Explain to the people what a catamaran is.
A catamaran is a boat. It's like people should know what a catamaran. Just look it up. Anyway, a catamaran.
Can't even spell catamaran.
Catamaran. Anyway, we were on there, and part of it is you get to what's it called? Not scuba. What's the other one?
Snorkel?
Snorkel.
No, we're not. We're going snorkeling.
We're going snorkeling. So you go do that, and I didn't do it because I had like, man, we stayed up mad late the night before drinking. I was super hungover, and like, I didn't get to take like my morning shit. I didn't have like my morning coffee.
It's important when you're on vacation, man.
Bro, you got to, because the night before be filled with food and liquor.
So yeah, especially when you're on an all-inclusive shit. And when you go to some place like Mexico where maybe the food that you eat is not something you eat daily here.
Well, the food there was fire. It's just I ate a lot of it and I drank a lot of it too.
Yeah.
So we get on there and I'm like, all right, I'm not gonna do it. I was like, honestly, I wouldn't mind it. I don't get afraid by that. I don't mind swimming in the ocean and shit like that.
Yeah.
But I was like, fuck it, I'm not going to. But it's pretty funny the way they do it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie to you. Everybody gets off the boat, and I think there's like a rope, right? And you go along this one, this rope, but you're in this big long like line of people, and the boat drops you off and then dips, and then you meet it, right? And it's funny to me because it's just a lot of boats in this area, and I just feel like there's a lot of recipe for disaster and what's going on there. But I would have done it because I don't mind it. Like that type of shit doesn't like worry me. I just felt as if I was.
Bring me to a shallow spot in the ocean. I don't want to be somewhere where like
this is deep.
Something dark can come up. And
This is deep because we were actually going.
Sharks are scary.
We were going to another island.
And they go fast, man. You know?
Yeah, it was deep in that area. It was for show deep.
That's pretty terrifying.
For show deep.
I mean, I would like to obviously like Like I'd be stuck in the middle of I want to do this, kind of scary, but I would still like to do it. But it is kind of scary, you know.
That's where you're stuck in the middle of.
Yeah,
Stuck in the middle with you.
yeah, something like that. But like stuck in between my feelings. Can I borrow a feeling? The theme of this episode for me is definitely The Simpsons, clearly. So
Yeah, you've been watching a lot, huh?
yeah,
Like a lot.
I mean, I just always on. You know, FXX man got marathons. It goes like either Simpsons to Family Guy or Simpsons to Bob's Burgers. Usually starts with King of the Hill. Some good shows that
Still watching all these cartoons, huh?
It's better to me than the news because the news is just filled with nothing but sadness. And on a similar note here, looks like student loan forgiveness is caught up in
Yeah, dude, what the fuck? It's like they literally
Fucking Republicans,
do not
man.
want to help.
It's all the Republicans.
They don't, and they asked me. But that's the thing. That means that we got to start paying. I got to fucking...
Well, they're trying to figure that out. They're like, they're considering whether they're going to do another extend.
Well, because they got
extension
to do something, because...
Yeah, man, I was planning on not having to pay you.
I was going to forbear the shit out that motherfucker. Forbear these and forbear those. I don't know what the... I don't know when I'm going to pay you, but it ain't yet.
It's ugly. Like, there's a lot of probably things that we can discuss.
So, do you know when you're going to pay us? Not yet.
Like, I wanted to pay you, but then I just
wanted? No, I never used those words.
What did they say?
I wanted to pay you. I had intentions.
What does Grandma say in Happy Gilmore? Well, I wanted to, but I didn't have any money. You can't take her house. She's too old.
Look at her. She's old.
There's probably like mad things we could talk about in the political spectrum, but I don't really have too much. I think Democrats lost the house.
The closest thing I want to say to talk. Well, I don't want to talk about any of that.
Talk about Herschel Walker being a weirdo.
The closest thing to political I want to talk about is Dave Chappelle. Give him a round of applause for hosting Saturday Night Live. I think they said the third time. So did you watch that?
And also, I was dying laughing at the monologue, man. The people who were like, all right.
That shit was funny. He's like, depending on who they is.
He was like, Kanye got in so much trouble. Kyrie got in trouble. Nobody can deliver like Dave, man. There's too many
fucking little babies in this world, man.
I think that like he went about it in the most stand-up comedy way. He didn't. I don't think it was like offensive. Obviously, I'm not a Jew. I'm kind of for all intents and purposes the opposite of that.
You are pretty opposite of that.
But like. It was funny, man. I don't know. Like, it
was mad funny.
They say that he did a fake monologue in like whatever their rehearsal was for Saturday Night Live.
They didn't know he was going to go about that.
That's what they said. Which I mean, I guess it makes sense.
That would be
like
super Dave Chappelle.
I guess it makes sense. There's a lot of like Jewish writers and stuff like that on Saturday Night Live.
You can't say that. I did just say that,
but it wasn't like overly offensive. It wasn't like
I don't think it was offensive at all. I think it was just pretty based in fact.
And he was just making like,
what do they say? The truth hurts. And if you're looking for a reason for it to hurt, that means that truth is, unfortunately, about you.
They had Jerry Seinfeld. He like talked about it a little bit, and he was like, first of all, he's like, Dave gives like a master class every time he's up there, right? Like nobody is able to broach these topics in a way that he is. He's like, and I think there's a lot of discussion that needs to go around this, and hopefully, like it opens doors to those type of discussions. But it's just like a comedian's job, and they got mad like responses from other people, whatever. But so Bill Maher was also talking about it, and he's like, Bill Maher, whatever.
Bill Maher.
Hey, man.
It's like our cousin.
Maher. Yeah. If you watch ABC 7 News, check him out. But he was like, yeah, like it's a comedian's job to take like those real life situations and like, I don't know what kind of word to use there, but basically like you know, parody them and make a farce out of them to some degree, you know? And Dave just doing his job up there.
Find ways to kind of make light of them, even though it's difficult too. And that's where I think most
the people
successful or great comedians, actually flourish is where the ones that are able to do
Which is why there's so few of them.
Right. Like that's why Dave Chappelle is so important because he goes up there and talks about all the most important topics
all the backlash that he got is from the people who are
style and
the people who are already mad at him about like transgender shit. Those are the people who criticize this. You know, like they're the ones who already kind of made a decision
There's a
about
certain
them
group
and
of
whatever
people.
it
I
is.
don't know who the fuck it is. It's not only one group of people. It's a group of people composed of a whole bunch of different people who love to be just butthurt about every subject they can possibly be.
That's
If
what
we
the world
had
is
more
today.
than 298 fucking subscribers, we would definitely have.
We'd have more
people who
comments
were-
about like, I can't believe you said that.
You said what?
But at least Homeboy was like, yo, I had to learn English because I wanted to see what they were saying.
Yo, I just want to let y'all know,
I guess thank
watching,
you for that.
if you are in fact listening, we just aren't planning on doing any of that nasty shit you're asking for.
If you ask me to take my shoe,
here, okay? But please, if you got enough, if you have it in you to comment that type
if you got
comment,
dough, or your best friends got dough, or their best friends got dough,
essentially what Adam is saying is, what I was getting to is that if you're down, go. We will put an OnlyFans up, and it will be our feet. Actually, go Patreon. We'll just have episodes where our feet are our feet, and we're gonna charge $1,000
Hey,
an
man.
episode.
we could do this, right? If they really about it,
If you are big, if you got money and you watch,
If they're
I'll
really
sell
about
you
it.
a pair of used shoes for $10,000.
if they're really about it, what we do is we get 2 extra cameras. During the pod, we just have one for your shoes, one for my shoes, and we'll make that content for OnlyFans. Boom.
No, that could just be Patreon because OnlyFans, I think Patreon is the way to go. We would just literally have.
I don't know, man.
episodes-
Whatever way. We could do both of them shits because there'll be different subscribers to there than there will be to the other. I don't care.
It will be
Let's go.
episode. It will be episode 159.
If
our
you love
feet.
feet enough where you're willing to pay just to see the feet,
I'm
yo, man.
gonna call people's bluff.
My price is high.
This is becoming quite annoying. Take your shoes off. Do a whole episode without your shoes on.
My man said it
Shut
would-
the fuck up.
he said it would be more homely to take your shoes
Homely.
off.
Hey, look at here, homie.
I'm in my home. It's about as homely as it's gonna get.
Listen, man. This is not that platform.
It's pretty funny. It's funny. It's also extra funny to me because I know how badly it irritates you to get those comments.
Dude, it's just so annoying. Yo, of all the like we get literally 0 subscribers, but 4 comments within like the first few minutes of the pod being up, talking about feet.
Speaking of the
And
comments,
we don't even be showing feet. It'd be like the bottom. If you see shoes, it's the bottom of
I told
the
you, man,
shoe.
you bait them by putting your feet up there. I don't give a shit if you do it, but they look at it and they're like, oh, he's got toes underneath those shoes. Like, it's just what happens. You know what I'm saying? You give them all the bait that they need. Just reel them in. You know what I mean?
But that being said, I'd like to say that I spent the large part of the last couple of weeks chasing down any leads to this specific release. Okay, I waited. There was exclusive access.
Wait, so we're going to sneakers right now?
Yes, right now.
Well, might as well talk about what we have on today to close out the
this
topic.
is not this.
You know?
This is gonna be this is just me talking really large shit. It's not about what we're wearing.
Well, usually we encompass sneakers, as
Okay.
a whole segment.
We'll get there.
So.
We'll get there. But for right now, I just can't hold it in anymore. There was exclusive access. There was the I forget what they call that when they make the reservations.
Reservations.
They just do reservations, but I think they use a specific term for
Nah, but like it's just literally reservations.
it. No, for sneakers, they
Oh.
call it something. Either way, I tried that. There was, I think there was one other thing that they released with, and then the actual release yesterday. All right, if you're not sure what I'm talking about, if you're not somebody who just watches it because I have toes in my shoes, but you actually watch because the shoes that the toes are in.
Or both, I guess. It's possible to like sneakers and toes.
I hadn't considered that, but the Jordan 1 Lost and Founds came out yesterday, and I mean everybody who is into sneakers, I would say 95%, 99% were waiting for this release. It's the first Air Jordan 1 Chicago colorway to release, I think, in like 7 years or something, some long amount of time. And this is the first time I've ever been able to kind of to afford when they come out. First time. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get these fucking things.
You should never make that plan when it comes to
You
sneakers.
shouldn't, but you know what? I'm like,
I mean, I guess that you kind of like manifest. You know, all those self-help books that you be reading and shit. Like manifest. If you believe it, you can achieve it. All that shit.
No, not with sneakers. It sucks, man. So I was up yesterday early. I was like, damn, no coffee in the crib. So I'm going to paint you this picture, all right? So I wake up. Oh, it's 3 a.m. Fuck. A few more hours before this comes out.
Somebody was excited.
Go take a piss. Go take a piss. Yeah. Go take a piss.
It's like school day was going to start after summer, and you're like, oh, man, I'm anticipating.
Put your clothes on and shit. No, so I wake up, go take a piss, go to sleep. Wake up again at 7 a.m. I go to the coffee. I'm like, damn, I ain't got coffee. So mind you, it's 15 degrees, 20 degrees outside. It's cold, man. Winter done made its way to Chicago. I get in the car, go drive and get some coffee. Okay? Get back in the car from the store. Okay? And I'm like, all right, well, it's about 7:30. Sneakers are coming out in about 90 minutes. Got enough time to make some coffee, take a shit.
If it takes you an hour and a half to make coffee, where the hell? Which decade are you living
Well,
in?
no, I'm not. I'm not crushing the beans with my feet. I'm just meant that
I don't think they
have an
ever
hour
did
and a
that
half,
in
okay?
any particular era.
I meant as a
they
whole.
might have used just like a little chisel, just kind of get them in the grounds, and then like fashion a weird little filter.
I would have if I was around back then, and they were like based on my ability to discover what is edible, what we can do with it.
You can only say back then because we're here. There are certain places like in Jordan, for instance, they don't. They might use it now, but I don't think they had like regular ass coffee makers in the last. Like,
you don't think they have coffee makers in Jordan? You don't think they can get those there?
No, now they can probably, but they didn't always
How long
have them.
ago
Like,
are
when
you
I was
saying
there
they
last, like they made it some weird way on the stove and shit. They don't. You gotta
were you there
remember,
last?
they don't fucking drink Folgers. You know what I mean? Like
They don't?
It's not the same way that they have.
They don't have it
Like
out there?
we worked at a restaurant that made that Arabic coffee shit.
Yeah, but they
And
also
you know
had
how
regular
much,
coffee.
Yeah, but you know how much of a pain in the dick it was to make that shit. Like you gotta
Pain
actually
in the dick?
Yeah, and I don't like pains in my dick.
Yeah, and speaking of pains in my dick, sneakers. Listen, I got on my phone, man. I'm watching it. That was the worst release I've ever experienced.
They're all bad releases.
And it's funny because it isn't at the same time. As many people as I was watching one of the sneaker channels, Unbreakable Kicks. He's from Chicago. Shout out, dude. As I'm watching his comment section, everybody's like, "Oh, I can't get in." He wasn't able to get in. He got locked out because he tried to log out and tried to log back in. They wouldn't let him. So I was able, through all of this, even though there was errors that popped up, this and that, I was able to get my reservation or my entry in by 9:02. Okay, the draw ends at 9:10, and it starts at 9 o'clock. You get 10 minutes. I got in within 2 minutes.
Right.
I'm like, cool. You know what? Everybody's having problems. It seems like the people that are.
I've never had that kind of issue getting into the draw. Like usually with sneakers, I can get in there. It takes them 20 minutes to tell me, oh, you didn't get these shoes.
Dude, it took them 45 minutes to tell me.
Sorry, you're not a winner.
Not 45. I'm sorry, 90. It took by 10:30. I got my message. Mike got them. Shout out, Mike.
That's what's up, Mike.
Yeah,
Glad people we know over here.
He's one of the only people I know that got it. I think I don't know of anybody else that like personally got a pair. I was trying to get Vivi's punk ass, but she won't update her damn technology,
See,
so I
man,
can't get a second chance.
If like people weren't enormous pieces of shit because like they just ruin everything, that's just how humankind works. No. It's not what I'm talking about. Like humans just naturally like to ruin everything, right? So like if we were back in the day where you had to like go and wait in line at like Nike Town and be the first, 250 people in line to get a pair.
Some stores did that this year, by the way.
People weren't trying to like rob you for them because they got there late. You know what I mean? Like, and it wasn't so dangerous. People trying to,
Yeah.
Honestly,
no, I mean,
it sounds like some pussy shit, but it's like people are fucked up, man.
There's
like,
no.
Let me just get out of here with my kids.
There's a reason they don't do that no more because of like the way it started going after that Concord release in 2011.
Yeah,
but.
Then that would almost be better.
Some stores actually did first come first serve this year, and people were like, "Dude, you're nuts." The way this release is working out, that means that motherfucker's gonna be out there, and like that's why like even picking up pairs, you gotta like, yo, I'm coming. Just I ain't coming right now because motherfucker.
That's why honestly, sneakers should change their model a little bit to be more like how Foot Locker and Finish Line do it, where they open up reservations like a week before, and then they're like the day before or whatever the release date. Like they'll let you know if you were one of the people who got drawn, and then you have 72 hours to get to the store and pick up your kicks. You know what I mean? Like that just makes it easier. You don't have to. There's not all this scrambling at 9 a.m. and then having the app crash.
But that requires every Nike store to be carrying an exorbitant amount of
not particularly
sneakers. Yeah, because
and again, like they don't do it just like that.
Sneakers is only Nike, so Nike would have.
But the way that they do those is you can either choose to pick up the sneaker in store or they'll ship it to you, and they'll have that deciphered before the releases, so they know how much they need to have. Obviously, you don't have to have all of it at the store, but I would prefer to just go and pick them up because if I got them, I can go right away today and go get them and not whatever, you know. It stops the app from having like too much traffic that causes it to crash. It's not, you know, I mean, they're just like certain things.
Listen, the fucking Nike or sneakers app is not the IBL. It has enough bandwidth. Okay,
let's not even talk about that.
It has enough bandwidth to be able to deal with what is gonna.
Clearly, it does not.
It should,
because clearly you were watching
it should have
a stream and it was all kinds of issues.
The server or the whatever that is required for sneakers to handle the traffic it was going.
Yeah, but why even bother with that? Like, how is that any better than opening up reservations 3 days prior, 4 days prior, and then letting people know what happened, you know, the day before?
Because it's also not part of the marketing.
Why?
Because
it should be.
I don't think it is.
I think
that you build a lot of hype, right, based around the sneaker before it releases.
When brick and mortar was the go-to, arguably
flock to your app at 9 a.m. every fucking Saturday, right? Or in this specific case, this Saturday for this specific
But not everybody is doing it.
No.
What they're doing is people are going for the reservations on Foot Locker and Finish Line, and then they're doing that on sneakers.
But you didn't
because
get yours,
they need
right?
as many. Yeah, no, I didn't. But like,
I'm saying
you didn't get yours either, and you went to rush to that.
That doesn't mean
the whole 6 hour period leading up to your day.
Just because everybody did that, right? The reservations means nothing because. Yes, that's like hedging your bet, but everybody has to be on sneakers at 9 a.m.
Yeah, but that's not better. It's not better for them even.
For sneakers,
they're still going to sell the same amount regardless.
I think there's a benefit.
Back when brick and mortar was the main hub, Foot Locker and Finish Line were arguably bigger than going to a Nike store.
Having the traffic that they have coming to their app.
Like
what? What is it?
What is it?
You've gained everybody's attention.
So now, like, oh, well, what else do you have in stock?
You've taken everybody's attention away from everything else in their life
because they don't need to be because they already reserved them on Finish Line or Foot Locker.
Saturday morning, just for 10 minutes or an hour and a half or whatever it is, you own people.
Literally for a minute and a half.
Power speaks volumes.
For a minute and a half.
Volume,
it's all it is. Anytime I've tried to get on sneakers and get shoes, I've had to be on there for a minute and a half, wait in line, and then I'm back to whatever I'm doing.
Also because they're going to sell out regardless.
It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't matter if they put reserve. That's only better for the consumer. That's not who they're concerned with.
That's who they should be concerned with. That's who they're selling
it's
to.
Not. Otherwise, I would have won yesterday based off the fact that I did what I did.
No. I disagree. I don't think
they're not concerned with fucking difference. Customers' issues with why they could not get the fucking shoe.
Okay, fine, but it doesn't make it any better to be like, oh, everybody rushed to the site and crashed the site. How does that help anybody? Like, listen, let's say you went to the site
because Nike knows that they're gonna sell out regardless. So
yeah,
that means that regardless of how they do it, the app crashing or whatever happened yesterday with it doesn't mean anything. They're like,
your logic is extraordinarily flawed here. Usually when people are trying to bring
do you
traffic,
see how I'm sitting here like this?
Usually
Nikes or certain sneakers app executives are like
the executives maybe, but not the IT squad, not the engineers. What you do
you think they're in the business of making them feel good either?
Listen, man, you're 100% wrong here because the only reason why you try to drive traffic to your site is so that, hey, I didn't get these. Let me scroll through and see what else you got. Like maybe you have something else I want. If the app crashes, you can't even do that. Then you're still missing out on sales. So what you really need to do is you set up early in advance, get people reserved.
But
that's why you have early releases.
It doesn't matter if it's reserved prior or not because they're going to sell on
Saturday.
It
does matter.
They're going to sell them all out either way.
Yes, exactly. That's why
it only matters for you and me.
It matters because it's the difference between your app crashing and not. That's the difference.
Crashing doesn't matter either.
It matters. What are you talking about? You went to marketing school for 15 years.
Because it crashed yesterday. Well, because it crashed yesterday, but it sold to who it needed to sell to get it all sold.
Let's say, how many shoes do you think they sell on sneakers every 10 minutes?
Like just average every day?
Average.
Like right now, what they're selling?
In a 10-minute period.
I think that varies
on a random Thursday.
I think that varies on what's on their lineup at that particular time. Like, I would say right now, let's just give fourth quarter, because fourth quarter is like, you know what I'm talking about, the more average. Are we saying sneakers and Nike or just sneakers?
Just sneakers, because that's the app that you get it from. You can't go to Nike's actual app.
That's hard. Is there a way to see how many people?
Probably, but I don't know.
No. Before we go to break, I want to see how many people you think are on this or own or downloaded the sneakers app.
People do that specifically just for a shoe that they want that's coming out.
Well, how many people do you think are
mad people? There's fucking couple
sneakers.
Tens of millions probably have the sneakers app. You can go to the app store and see like how many downloads it has, but that's only then you can probably double it because it's on Apple and on
how many
Google Play.
People are on the sneakers app.
I'm telling you right now, you just got to go to the app store. If my damn internet was faster, then I could actually do this quicker.
Okay, so right now they say that it's the ultimate source for sneakers, fueling the passion of over 4 million sneaker fans.
Yeah.
Okay. How many sneakers are they selling? Meaning one pair in 10 minutes?
Mm-hmm.
Man.
If you're
that's hard.
The general point here
that's hard
is if the app crashes for 10 minutes, you're losing sales there, right?
Are you meaning for the people that were going to go there not for that shoe?
Right. Let's say they were like, oh, those are cool, but whatever. Or they got a notification from Sneakers, hey, this shoe just dropped. Oh, let me go see what that looks like. I don't really like them.
Here's the question, because I'm not sure. Do you think that the Sneakers app more than likely has a customer who's on it looking for the hype shoe, and then the person that's not looking for the hype shoe is more likely on a Nike's app?
Well, for instance, Saturday mornings, right? At 9 o'clock, there's sneaker drops. Pretty much every week, right?
Yeah.
So let me go see what dropped.
Pretty much every day, every week.
Let me go see what dropped, right? Oh, I got a notification. Oh, sneaker releases today. Sneakers gives me notifications 3-4 times a week, whatever, about random drops that are coming up. Or you were scrolling through last week and you hit notify me and you forgot about them. Oh, boom, it popped up. So there's mad people who are on there to go on cop shoes.
Is every sneakers release, not sneaker, is every sneakers release, would you consider it at least above average hyped? Because if not, why do they release also on Nike app? You get what I'm saying?
Just to let you know that they're coming out. And
because I also can buy
they're trying to drive traffic
for
there.
Instance, I could buy the silver bullets on the Nike app, but they came out on the sneakers.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't get a lot of what the redundancy they have.
Well, I think sneakers is more or less meant for like the hype shoes.
So basically, that's what I'm saying. So sneakers,
but you can obviously get certain releases on both. Whatever, it's just
and that's what I'm saying. So if
the retro shit.
Sneakers is more of the hype. Mm-hmm. On a Saturday morning, generally speaking, the person who's looking at sneakers knows why they're looking at sneakers, right?
Yes and no, but again,
the person who's looking at sneakers on a Saturday morning, that's not a hype.
How many times have you scrolled through sneakers and you're like, notify me, and you're like, I'm probably not gonna buy these, but let me know when they're out, whatever.
That's only so they give me the shoe that I'm asking.
But that happens mad times, right? So you get a
fuck you sneakers.
So you get a notification at 8:45. This shoe drops in 15 minutes. You just go to the app and you just start scrolling like, I don't really want them, but what else? And you keep scrolling. Mad people end up buying shoes regardless, right? Even if it's not the ones that they hit notify me on initially. Yeah. If you are knowing for sure, one way or the other, whether you do a reserve in advance or if you have it directly at a 9 o'clock release, you're going to sell out of this shoe. It's a highly coveted shoe, mad reservations because people want them, mad people are going to be there at 9 o'clock because they want them. If you are causing your app to crash, you're costing yourself money one way or the other. So the smartest thing for you to do is to release them, or not release them early, but make it where reservations are early.
I'm just of that mind state that to me, Nike, bad publicity, good publicity.
But it's not about publicity, though.
It is because
they're a business. They're a for-profit business who's trying to make money.
On Google,
so if your website crashes, if your main hub that you sell from crashes,
publicity is publicity.
It's not about publicity, though.
But what it brings, it draws attention to them, right? The idea that sneakers released a shoe that broke the internet yesterday, and it was on Google when I went to.
But it's not only available sneakers. If it's, I'll give you this. If it's like a shoe that is only available through sneakers, fine. And they've had those releases.
But okay.
They've had those releases.
But
if you can get them through Finish Line and Foot Locker as well, it's not.
I think you're right. You're right. only away from yesterday, aside from yesterday's release, because you saw something. You saw you saw some of the shit that happened. So Unbreakable Kicks was reading about a finish line, right? So they were like, "Dear treasured customers," or whatever they use, right? They're like, "We unfortunately do no longer have your lost and found Air Jordan 1s. Yes, our manager yesterday quit abruptly, and along with him, half of the stock left, and we don't have your sneakers anymore." And then there's other stores that have been like, "Oh, Mike was telling me Finish Line, they weren't available yesterday. All of them were through reservations and gotten done with reservations before they were released yesterday."
And again, with those,
DTLR,
you can decide,
I don't think they even released it.
But when you go to do those reservations, again, you can decide whether you're going to pick them up in store or if you want them shipped directly to you.
It's just weird, man. It just seemed like yesterday was a weird release.
I guess, but I mean, again,
and they're saying that there was so many bots. How did sneakers get botted when they made me yesterday? They made me.
Then doesn't that help with reservations?
What?
It helps to bypass the bots. And don't tell me that sneakers doesn't care about that at all, because they just recently had surveys like, "Oh, what do you think about the availability of these shoes?"
In
blah, blah, blah,
that
blah, blah.
way, it would probably.
They already had the bad publicity with the Herbert lady, whatever. That shit hurt them.
Regarding bots, I agree. It would probably help immensely.
Oh, and if you make it where you have to pick it up in store, which that's another way to circumvent it.
I don't like that though. I don't. I mean, I get it. You're right, but I don't, as a customer, when I have to go.
There are certain
releases
releases
shit off my house.
I agree, but I mean, there are certain.
I saw something yesterday. Somebody was like, "FedEx about to be eaten" because they hit it. But I got more. We got more to talk about like on this, so we'll come back and speak more about it. But we got to go to break.
All right,
we got to go to break. All right. Are we back?
We can get back, yeah.
All right. So go ahead.
I mean, we might as well close out this sneakers topic.
I got more to say. More to say.
Well, then carry on.
So
don't spend too much time on it. We got more things to talk about.
Yeah, well, do we really?
Yeah.
So I would say that to go with your point, if they did do a reservations, let's say, I would say Thursday, Friday into Saturday, they'd probably be able to combat bots a lot better.
Also,
it wasn't
Nike,
like, oh, this shoe is coming out.
Nike created sneakers because of like the retro gym shoe.
Well, Nike created sneakers in an attempt to find a way to go about.
It was a refresh of the brand in a way.
Well, no, it was to find a way to release sneakers without the stand in line aspect of it, because they were trying to find a way to get away from that because
because they had the Nike app before they had the sneakers app.
Yeah, but sneakers was
so they were already able to do that.
You used to go stand in line. Now, though, I think that happens in boutique places mostly. Even they run some sort of reservation now. Nike was just trying to create a way to get you to be able to buy your shoes on a Saturday morning. Well, now it's every morning, but on Saturday it started, so you could buy them instead of them having you release them online in a shoe store where you're first come first serve, because it had become so dangerous and so violent and so lately and
yeah,
just
that's what I was saying.
Uncontrollable. Like, I mean, the line, I think I've described it on here before. The line that I stood in for those Concords, because I stood in the line for the Concords and the Cool Grays, which I've said before, obviously. But the line,
people are gonna let you get in there and get the shoes, but they ain't trying to let you get back to your car with
that line was that line was crazy. Like, I remember, if you are familiar with downtown Chicago and you're familiar with Nike Town, it wrapped around from literally around the block. I forget what the street is behind it, but it wrapped it right around back to Michigan. There was no reason for anybody to assume that if they were at the end of that line that they were getting sneakers. I don't understand why they stood in that line.
Well, they weren't going to go and count everybody who's in line and see what number back they were, you know?
I don't know if it was the Concords or the Cool Grays, where we're like fourth in the line now waiting, and some dude tried to like cut me, and we argued I was like, dude, get the fuck out of here. I was like, I'm like, dude, you think I've been sitting here with me trying to have it a piss? Like, I've had to hold this pee in. It's 12 degrees out here. I'm fucking cold, and I'm not dealing. I was like, dude, get the fuck out of here. Me and him argued for like, I don't know, 5 minutes or so, and he just kind of walked away. And but like, it got so crazy and uncontrollable because of the amount of people that were there that I think they had to find an alternative.
And they have like security tolling the line and shit.
I think sneakers was created in an attempt to be the alternative to
Well, of course. I mean, they were also moving in the direction of where the world was at. Like, you need an online presence. But there are certain things you just don't necessarily need an advertisement for, man. Like, you don't.
Well, at a certain point, yes.
And it's not going to hurt them to not have. I'm telling you, we already have gone through this. We can agree to disagree and wrap it up, whatever. But like, if the app crashing is more detrimental to their brand than not having it. Like, especially when you're considering the fact that Finish Line and Foot Locker have alternatives. So if you wanted to go to them and not have the app crash,
they get a much smaller allocation.
That's fine,
and that's the issue. That's why when people go on,
but if you already have a brand, or if you have an account through them and you've worked up a certain amount of points, you can get what they call head starts, and you can add
I don't like that shit either, though.
You add to your likelihood of getting a shoe.
I don't know.
Obviously, I had head starts and I had the Foot Locker app and I have an account and I still didn't get the shoes, but like. You went again, like you raced to the app on Monday and didn't, or on Saturday and still didn't get them. So whatever.
It's bullshit. But
what other factors? What other things relating to shoes did you need to discuss here today?
Well, I guess No, so I did. Then I've been talking about those Volt, like the Visionaries.
Yeah.
Actually, that sneaker, the Sneak This podcast. Greg calls them. They're in this pack of Jordan 1s called the Disrespect Pack. He put together. But like he said, a lot of people disrespected him, and I think I'd agree. I like Volt Green. I know you don't like it that much, or in that,
it's all right.
in that
just can't be
in
too
that
much.
large a concentration.
Yes,
but I love that the way that shoe looks. That sail tongue. I'm looking forward to getting them. So, as soon as I didn't get those Jordan the Lost and Founds, I set it in stone because obviously it's true. I'll never get them. They're right now. If you look at GOAT. Because they weren't too bad.
They've gone up in price now?
Yeah, they're up there.
I think there's just like certain bright colors, certain like neon
size 11
colors.
and a half, which is what I get in my Jordan 1s, 455.
Yeah.
Size 12, 443.
Yeah,
there's no way.
You should have pulled the trigger back then.
I'll never buy those. I won't buy a shoe for that much money. I just won't.
But some of those more like bright colored, like off the cuff ones, not like a white shoe or a red shoe or something like that.
I got these under retail.
But like certain colors belong on the court and nowhere else.
Well,
really.
I mean, it depends. I'll probably rock these on vacation or something.
Like the green is cool, but the extraordinarily bright colored greens.
Oh, I mean,
it's more of a basketball court.
It depends. Yeah. But I got them for under retail. I bought them for $165. Which was, I'm good with that. As soon as I didn't get them, I went to GOAT and I bought these. Yeah. First time I bought a pair of shoes from a GOAT or a StockX.
Yeah.
Okay. And I bought them. I wouldn't have bought them if they were more than retail. I found a pair at a Snipes, but a size 12, and I just didn't feel like getting a size 12. So yeah. I went and bought those. But the question that kind of popped in my head earlier this week, I meant to ask you is, do you remember your first pair of Jordans? Which one they were? Or your first pair of the shoe, like I guess retro shoes that you've been or you wanted to get since you were a kid?
I don't know, man. It probably
and not necessarily any. I don't know if I ever passed any Jordans down to you, but I doubt it.
No,
because I only had one pair until like 05 or so.
I don't remember specifically the first pair that I got, but I think it's probably a pair of ones or something like that.
Okay.
The first ones that I wanted was either a 5 or a 9. Those are because those are two of my favorite silhouettes. So it had to be one of those two. I was scrolling through pictures earlier and saw the Photo Blue 9s popped up again. I was like, man, there's still a nice shoe. Like I really
enjoy
those.
Shoe. It's a good shoe.
But yeah, I don't really remember specifically what I wanted specifically.
Okay. See, and that's where we differ. That's why I tell you that. That 4 years is a difference for me because I remember.
No, that doesn't mean that there aren't ones that I wanted. It just means that I don't remember.
I was cognizant of those shoes more, so I remember.
Well, there's mad ones that I want, but there's just
So my first pair I ever got was in That was me.
It was me too.
Oh.
It's Dave. Shout out Dave.
Oh, shout out Dave. Anyway, so man, I just forgot. First pair I got was in, I want to say 2001, Fire Red 5s. Okay. And we went to Foot Locker, and it was for my birthday or something like that. We found them, and we opened they had a catalog. He's like, you can look through here and see what we got. Fire Red, I think we got them for less than $100. I want to say like $75 or $85.
Yeah.
And
there was a time where these things were not $200 each.
I wish I knew where they were at. I couldn't tell you. I think Pops in one of his purge acts decides to throw them away. So I don't have those as much as I can, from what I can tell. It sucks, but that's life.
Yeah.
But that's the first pair. And then the first pair I remember buying, was the Mars 4s in I want to say that was 05. 05. Mars Red, they're the Fire Red 4s, but Mars, with the Mars, what's it called? Little stitched in the back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I want to say I would probably like some cool gray ones.
Cool gray ones?
Yeah.
Oh, I think, were they high top or they were mid?
They were high top.
They were high? And I think they were mid tops, if I remember the ones that you're talking about.
I don't know. I mean, I've copped a couple of pairs of them in the time that I've been copping sneakers, but the first ones I think they were high.
Okay.
But the ones were obviously just, I mean, even till today, they're the cheaper of the releases, and I wasn't always able to just go and buy whatever I want. And I've had a job for as long as I can remember.
Therein lies the issue with yesterday. I never had the money to buy the Chicago ones until yesterday, and I went through with my part of the bargain. You were supposed to fulfill yours. That being said, I'm not going to stop trying to buy off your stupid fucking app. Those French blue ones that are coming out, they got those gorge greens. I don't think I'm going to try to get.
It's also worth noting that
the cherry red 11s.
It's also worth noting that Foot Locker and Finish Line don't offer reservations for every shoe that comes out, but there's some big releases like the ones yesterday that they did indeed have the reservation for. Yesterday was Saturday. By the time you get this, yesterday will be Monday. So
it's an issue
to make that differentiation.
Whatever.
Anyway, moving on from sneakers, just to circle back around to them later on with what we got on. Your boy Nas put out a KD3.
Yeah, man. Can we give him a round of applause?
Yeah, of course we can. Of course we can.
Give Nas a round of applause real quick. For those that know that Nas is my favorite MC.
If you know, you know.
Ever. And I mean, you got to really give him credit. Like he's right now shooting at a ridiculous clip.
3 KDs and all of them have been.
I listened to it that morning. Shit is fucking beautiful. Such a great body of work. And it's almost no skips. Like you can let that shit rock completely straight through. I forget how many tracks are on there, but you could just listen to it all completely. I've done it multiple times now. I've done it while working out. I've done it while driving. Done it while at the house.
You can do it doing multiple activities.
Well, I mean, like I've like certain times. There's times where you absorb an album differently, right?
For sure.
You put headphones on at the crib. You listen to it in a different way, or
listen to it in the car.
You absorb it differently,
yes.
and it hits differently depending on the environment that you listen to.
And this one is multifaceted. You can do it in many different varieties.
This shit's crazy. Him and Hit Boy. This shit is. It's crazy how great they work together. It's nuts. So
there's always, of course, like when you're talking Nas, you're always talking Jay-Z, right? Like it's just like natural type of thing. Like when you're bringing up the greatest of all time in basketball, MJ got to be involved, right? So they're talking about like, he made reference to their beef there, and he was like, sometimes I go back and listen through lines and take over, and sometimes I message Hope like, this ain't over, whatever. Yeah. So those type of things are hilarious.
I like that little playful back and forth.
Well, yeah, because it's like it's competition still, but it's friendly competition. It's not like
it's like what are we really competing about now?
But they're talking about like when the album was dropping, Jay put out a photo with all of his Grammys.
Oh, he did?
So, like, there's always, like, one of those little things just poking the bear whenever
like
Nas release comes out. Which is funny. It's like, that's kind of always been their dynamic to some degree, right? Like, But before it was more malicious. Now it's kind of just like I'm just gonna have fun with this type of shit.
Yeah, I think, and I enjoy that. I think that when it's fun to see the greats grow older and their competition that they're involved in together.
There comes an affinity for one another.
Yeah,
it's, and there's a respect
it's more
level.
endearing to watch it happen than
there's a respect level for each other now, you know,
because before you'd be like, "Oh shit," you hear what Nas said about Jay, and now you'd be like, "Oh shit, you see what Nas said about Jay this time." Like that shit. It's a true difference in how you take that, and I think it's awesome to see that happen. It's nice to see the greats grow, and like that's why it was so nice to see like in a different vein when you see these interviews where Shaq and Kobe before Kobe passed, rest in peace, Kobe Bryant.
Rest in peace for sure.
Like when they had their face to face, to see them and Magic and Isaiah, even though fuck Isaiah Thomas, like I just don't fuck with Isaiah.
Yeah,
but
he's still a dick to this day.
Yeah, but
Kobe and Shaq, they were able to do that. Luckily before he passed, a year before that or something like that.
But the tongue in cheek, the poking of at each other that is so playful, right?
The subliminals.
Because now there's no reason for it to be like it's made in any way other than to be joking.
Yeah.
Because it may be truth to it. Like
it's like when you have an inside joke, but like the public is made aware of it. At first there's like some shock to it, and then they're like, "Oh, well, that's just how they operate."
Do you remember the NBA 75th or 75 best player things when they showed Mike talking to Magic? He's like, "Go get your shoes on right now. I'll beat you one-on-one." Like essentially, like, but he'll never not love.
It's for the love of the game competition.
Yeah, because we're not going to go play.
Right.
We're both hurt ourselves.
Like we can go probably get some shots up, but let's not run.
Exactly. Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it's nice to see the greats get older and get older together.
It's like Mike Tyson and Roy Jones. Like we'll get in the ring and do this for
he beat the
for
shit
the look.
Out of Roy Jones, though, man.
But like wasn't actually like trying to knock his head off and knock him out.
I don't
like
think that he knows the difference. I think when he gets in there, it's just a body to hit. You see the video of Mike Tyson hitting his fucking trainer?
Oh yeah.
He's like, he was like. Mike is just like my fault. Like what the fuck?
Well, I mean,
you just broke my jaw, Mike.
I guess it's muscle memory. You know what I mean? But no, I thought that was really cool. Shout out to Nas, of course. It's a great album. The whole series, the whole King's Disease series, has been great.
Yeah.
And it's funny because they were mentioning the fact that back in the height of their beef, Jay's like 4 albums in 10 years, like whatever. That's a terrible clip, and only 2 of them were good. And now they're like, he's been on a tear. He dropped what 5 albums in 4 years or some shit like that. So he's been going crazy.
I mean, I've always.
It was just another note. Just another note about that, because obviously when you've been in the game for so long, there's like a storied history of your career. Yeah. So there's elements to it that people just obviously. They pull coincidences out of their ass and they just want to talk shit. But
just like anything else, the internet investigators, they're there and they got nothing else to do with their lives because they live in their mom's basement. They don't pay rent. They don't have to have a job, so they don't have to worry about that. And their mom makes them sandwiches every morning and they do it every night. And then that's what they do. They drink a lot of Coke and Gatorade and power drinks.
Well, coming from
I would assume a lot of these guys don't drink a lot of water in these basements.
Probably not.
Do you think they have their own bathrooms or they just pee in
I feel like they drink
drains, right?
I feel like they do some Keenan and Kel shit where they just drink orange soda from the 2-liter,
Right, but I'm saying that'll make you pee too. I mean, yellow as shit. But do you need a toilet in the basement technically? You could just pee in that drain.
I mean, you could, but it's probably more convenient to have a toilet.
Yeah, but
what if you got to take a dump? Then you got to go upstairs.
Yeah, but that requires these guys to actually be able to put something together in their basement that
I don't know.
they bought.
I don't even know who these guys are, and I don't want
These guys are the guys that are the internet people that live in their
They're the bloggers.
Dude, it's hilarious that these people exist in their basements.
Yeah. I'm sure they... Yeah. They could be doing worse things in their basement, I
guess. Meatloaf, fuck! That's what they are.
But coming from the era of rap music that we grew up on, back then it was like everybody is pretty good. The competition thing is important. Now we're in an era where there's I'm not going to disrespect anybody, but there's a lot of music that I'm not necessarily the most fond of. Not for me. Not everything is for everybody, right? But so when the true spirit of lyricism and the MC is still alive, just to see them putting out work that is listenable and everybody enjoys it, and are rooting for each other, like that type of shit. That's what you like to see.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
So even though I was on the Jay side of that Jay Nas beef, always like to see Nas doing well.
Of course, and you can see he's truly enjoying himself.
Yeah.
Truly.
Then he was on Trevor Noah's show. They were talking about, that's where a lot of some of those
I meant to
came up.
watch more of that. I seen like a clip.
Did you see there's like a Complex has a show now where they do like the rank worthy whatever, and they're like or they do the brackets.
I've seen brackets.
So I watched one T.I. did like Atlanta, and then they did like, I don't know if it was specifically like Coke rap or like Dope Boy rap, whatever, but one with Pusha T.
Okay.
So they've been going like crazy on putting those out. They put like, I don't know, a bunch of them out in the last couple of months. But it's just interesting to see.
Joe Budden did one actually recently.
Yeah. But it's interesting. That's also funny because obviously he worked for Complex for a while too there. But it's just interesting to see like their thoughts about other rappers, because a lot of them sometimes, like, especially if you're from the same city putting out music, there's beef there to some degree, right?
Yeah.
So like, they're talking to T.I. about like Ludacris, and then obviously like Young Jeezy and shit like that.
Luda.
But like you can see now, like the growth of hip hop has just been great, because you can see like there's a respect level now that exists, where back in the day things might not have been.
Well, I mean, when you're younger, you definitely got like, the younger.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's kind of a natural
testosterone.
Well, you hope it's a natural progression, but it's just also just cool to see like artists that didn't really see eye to eye, and their squads weren't really, it was maybe on site type of shit. Like,
I mean, but that comes with being a youngin' and hard headed and all of that.
Yeah, but it's just dope to see it.
I'd agree.
That's all.
I'd agree with that.
So, any other thoughts on KD3?
No, I think you should go out and listen to it if you're a Nas fan. Even if you're not a Nas fan, this is a good introduction to who he is. He stays true to himself in most forms. He pokes fun at the idea that people say he doesn't really pick good beats, and I mean that's probably true to a certain extent. But at the same time, he picks beats that are Nas beats, and not anybody can just rhyme like the way he does over the beats that he does rhyme over. So I think if you haven't listened to Nas before, go ahead and check this out.
Definitely.
I mean, shit, even checking out the beginning of the King's Disease series might help you out. But I mean, if you really, and then
you should probably just go back to
go back to Illmatic and all of that. But this is probably be more palatable
to
for
the young guys,
because of how refined the production is of it.
Yeah.
Because you go back a little further to 95, 96, 94, a lot of that production was a little bit more raw, a little bit more like super boom bap-ish, but like
it's where you want it though.
Of course, but it was not
simple beat, so that the lyrics are the main focus.
It just wasn't as polished, is what I'm saying. So for somebody who we're talking to now, it could be. I'm assuming that they're maybe early 20s. I would just say, if you're in your early 20s, you never heard a Nas album, maybe go to these new King's Disease, because they're who Nas is, but with a more polished production behind it.
He has since clarified these statements, but do you want to talk about the 21 Savage talking about Nas is irrelevant type of thing?
I'm a 21 fan to a certain extent. I have no issue with him.
I'm a casual fan.
Yeah, I assumed that there was more to that statement. Everything nowadays, you have to go search for the entirety of whatever they're talking about. You need the context, because anything you could pick anybody's. You could pick like a 5-second clip of anybody talking and find a way to make it sound offensive.
It's true.
Without the context around it, then we can't truly judge. And I think that should be really like a bigger point going forward in just society in general. Like the news will pick.
Deep.
I mean, think about it. The news will pick something that.
I'm here for the jokes, so
I get it. But the news picks like a clip of whatever, and you'll be like, damn, he said that shit. And then like 2 days later, you'll find a whole clip. You'll be like, wait, he did say that. But he said all this, and this, or she said that, this.
I think at the time of that statement, it wasn't necessarily like missing too much context. I think it's just it came off more harsh than he meant it, is what it really was.
But I think there was context around it. Like I forget.
There was more to it, but
I heard. Well, you
like the statement was. The statement,
if you listen to the words around it, it makes it hit a little less, right? when you give me this 5 seconds, it's like,
but in
Nas is irrelevant. Bam! You're like, what the fuck?
In any arena, though, like regardless what the context is, in certain statements, like when you saying that somebody like Nas is irrelevant is gonna be a gut punch anyway to like anybody who's a listener, because you're like, wait a second, those words don't really go together. Like, first of all, Nas
of course,
probably more relevant today, if anything. You know, like his relevance has only grown, but also it's not like he's out here out of his wheelhouse and like trying to.
And that's what I was saying. That's what I was saying. He stays true to himself. Yeah. Well, again, listen, we're in that era of sound bites, and I just am more of a fan of getting the whole clip before I sit there and judge 5 seconds, 10 seconds.
Well, he wouldn't have came out and clarified his statements if he didn't think that it wasn't
it was
coming across the right way anyway, you know? Okay, well, I just figured since you're like the Nas head.
If I thought that it was any super malicious way, intent behind that, I'd say more about it, but I don't think it was. And most people who are in the game should have some sort of knowledge or know exactly about what Nas has contributed and what he does to the game and what he continues to do. So,
I'll admit that I'm probably like not super up on all of the new releases that have come out over the last month as I should be, because we've talked about this before. I'm just kind of stay in my bubble of music. But have you given the 21 and Drake album a good listen?
Yeah, I have. It's actually not bad. It's not bad.
I hear it's good. I mean, I hear it's better than like his.
You'd enjoy it. You'd enjoy it.
They say that it's like more a Drake album with just like some 21.
Yeah,
features.
there's a stat that says out of I don't know how many minutes the album is, but that 21 only rapped on like 12 or 15 minutes of it.
Oh, reminded me when you said that stats thing. That on the KD3 shit, he said he had like 870 words that he's never rapped before. Nas.
What do you mean, like
870 like words in the dictionary that he's never rapped using on this album? I thought that was crazy.
Who the hell took the time to count that?
I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, my man has been hitting the dictionaries studying.
That seems like a crazy stat to be able to quantify, whatever.
I mean, people are nerds, man. You know.
These people that be in their basement chilling.
Well, also, I'm sure there's like some kind of weird
shit. Peeing in the drain in the floor.
I'm sure there's some kind of weird shit where like there's like some app that they can use. They're like, oh, this word is a unique word in the.
Yeah, but that would.
This is not the only album that they've done this with before, but like
there are a lot of people who spend time like people who spend time studying religious books. It's crazy because now they study these albums like they're religious texts or what have you.
I mean, they have
Harvard.
They have a Harvard class for Illmatic.
For Nas, yeah. I mean, listen, I get it. I'm a big fan of Nas. I know.
Well, I mean, that's what the idea is. Like, I guess, like as an artist, you got to feel some form of like contentment with that, right? Like, oh, you literally are like going deep to analyze what my words were here. That's great because I put a lot of thought into these words. You know what I mean? Like, especially when you're talking about somebody like Nas.
It's great that you feel that way because I took a long time to make it.
Especially when you're talking about somebody like Nas, to say that there's 870 unique additional words. Like, he's always been very lyrical, very aware of his message type of MC. You know, so like to add that, it's like, well, okay, he's kind of like on an elevated thought level with this one, you know?
He's just, in general, Nas has always felt like he's on an elevated plane compared to most other people.
And it's probably true. That's right. There's a reason why it's always been the Jay-Z Nas.
He speaks so prophetic. That's the word, right? Mm-hmm. You know?
Prophetic, yes. It's a good one.
But he speaks that way. Like, his raps, the sound in his voice, it's very always smooth and calm and, like, very matter of fact, but, like, I don't know. Nas has always attracted me in terms of way he's been able to construct verses. Like, it's crazy.
He changed his like little Caesar that he used to do.
Now he got the dreads coming in.
Yeah.
Hopefully, don't grow the Basquiat Jay-Z.
Jay's getting a little out of hand. He
looks like what's dude from Hey Arnold.
I don't know.
Where his hair was like, like it's just in.
And then, because Arnold just has a little patch. Well, that's his hair.
Yeah,
he has a little hat in the middle. Then when you were talking about his beat selection, it reminded me, it's a bad transition to go from Nas to Kanye, right? But I just wanted to make a couple points real fast with him. As you go back and listen to certain things with Kanye, you can kind of see his narcissism coming to the surface, right? And didn't really think anything of it until today, until it was like, today's Kanye, right?
You can't say shit to Kanye West no more. I rock 20,000 people. I was just on tour. Well, I'm kind of Louis Vuitton Don.
There's also like some braggadocio is fine, you know. Like, I like to hear it. Okay. You should always talk yourself up. But he was on graduation. He was like, "Here we go again. Common passed on his beat. I made it to a jam." And I was like, "That says something to me." He's like offended in a way, right? It's kind of like there's like some salt there that Common passed on one of his beats. But I'm like, this is also the guy who said he made 5 beats a day for 3 summers. That's a lot of beats, man. At some point, somebody's gonna be like, this one's not as good as the other.
There's probably a lot of shitty Kanye West beats.
And like, not that his production has ever been like, oh yeah, Kanye can't make a production. You know, it's not, nobody's ever questioned that. But I'm sure that there are some that are better than others, bro. Like, then I started thinking about Drive Slow, right? He started talking about my homie Miley used to stay, whatever. So he got to the end of that verse, and if you really think about the verse, the end, he's like, put me on with these hoes, homie. Don't rush to get going. Drive slow. And I think really like the entire story that he told that verse was just to get to that last point where he said, don't rush to get grown. Drive slow, homie. And then they went back into the chorus. I was like, man, you know what? There's some weird things with that guy. If you really like get into his music a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a big ego.
Yeah, but
Pause.
like just the sickness that it took for you to get through 16 bars for the last one to be the only one that really is relevant to the theme of the song. That's pretty funny to me.
He's something else, man.
Yeah,
something else. There's a few other things I plan on asking about. What do you think about how the Lakers and the Nets are trash? Oh, Kawhi Leonard still isn't playing. Remember we were discussing this.
Mm-hmm.
The idea. I don't know. At what point do you say that? All right, dude, you're just really chronically injured.
I don't know, man. It's like he's like one of those guys that, in a lot of people's eyes, his greatness has been solidified to some degree, and they don't question him as much. You know,
I don't accept that type of thing.
Well, I mean, when you're in a sport that you're supposed to play 82 games every year until you retire.
I seen a stat. John Stockton only missed like 1 or 2 seasons playing 82 games, right? Like he didn't play the full 82. Like these players nowadays.
Yeah, but to be fair, that in that era, a point guard was more a true point guard where you're not needed to be as athletic, and you had Karl Malone to be the playmaker, and I mean, you know, like there's different. It's a different era.
The playmaker was fucking John Stockton.
Well, yes, but I mean, you know what I mean. Like the one who finished the plays. He was able to facilitate.
I don't care, man. I think
Kawhi is not a point
no
guard.
Way you're
there's
also
also
tell me that
the
these players now are weaker than that, and they're playing a less physical game.
They are.
I find it weird that Zach LaVine. I mean, I get he's been playing, but he's been playing at a lesser clip.
I just mean that back then.
He's on that Kawhi Leonard career path.
I just meant back then, like when you were in the backcourt, you stayed in the backcourt for the most part. You know, like you may have had your scoring plays,
true,
but you also were.
But I don't think that has anything to do with like.
But I mean, it helped to avoid injury to some degree.
I don't think so. I don't think that has anything to do with it because they still got played defense on that was physical and beat up. Nowadays, you can't play that. You can't even hand check, and you're telling me that you are
like, it was hand checking.
Is it that the with the increase in athleticism, speed and the ability to jump, is the frequency of injury more probable? Is that what it is?
Yeah, I mean definitely. That's the only reason why Derek got hurt early on in the season.
Yeah, man. Stop talking about that.
But I'm just saying, like the
hey, where can you find
a
Derrick Rose jersey?
There's probably Locker Room by Lids might have it.
Like a swing line, like a Bulls, like a Chicago Bulls.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm gonna have to take a look because I want that shit.
And then there's like some other. Like Chicago sports. There used to be anyway in Woodfield, but
I remember Vivi had bought me one right for Christmas, and then I had said something that made her think she shouldn't get it, so she returned it.
I got a Chicago away jersey, and then I got his Knicks.
You do? Fuck you then, motherfucker. I'd be wearing that more often if I were you.
No.
Why?
Well, because I don't want to destroy it. It's probably hard to
Once
get.
in a while, you wear it, put it under in some plastic.
Nah, there's probably a couple of episodes of the pod where I had it on.
Okay.
The next one I'm not too worried about, but the Bulls.
I would like to. I wouldn't mind having one of each of the jerseys he's used.
I would like to have a home jersey, not just the away. But what you gonna do? You know.
Well, if you look at Fanatics right now, their jerseys are like 65% off.
Huh.
Something like that. The Jordan
holiday
Mitchell and Ness is like $229. That's something I wanted for a long time, but
Yeah.
I just don't know if I'll spend that much on it.
I mean, I probably would. It's just I need the, maybe.
Maybe
if one of these.
right now in my current situation, what am I talking about?
Maybe
Hypotheticals?
Maybe a few of these 8 billion people on the planet decide to subscribe to our show, and we can go and buy things like that.
One day people will start subscribing. I know that. I know that for a fact. Even if it's the foot freaks.
Yeah, if you're gonna degrade us, at least do it with your friends.
Yeah, or pay me. Pay me.
Yeah, that's the bigger point. Don't degrade me for free.
Don't degrade me for free. I'm not like even prostitutes get paid.
They were talking. They were talking about on basketball still for a second. KD was like giving his. This time talking Kevin Durant was giving his reason why he requested a trade from the Nets initially.
Okay.
And just basically like, we need more. Like, I don't like how the preparation is. The practices aren't enough. There's not enough like emphasis on anything. Like, if you need to take me and make me an example so that the rest of the team goes harder as well, like, let's do that. But he's like, there was just not enough being done, and clearly now they're having a really shitty go of it this year.
They are terrible, man.
Which the Lakers are too.
The
so
Lakers
cool
are bad
that,
too. This is going to be another. Remember we were talking about if you are LeBron and you go, if this team goes, because they're drastically even underachieving what people thought they were going to achieve, right? Like nobody anticipated this being a thing. So if they go to the point where they're like a sub 500 team, when are you, as LeBron, putting yourself in that position, right, with your legacy and all of these things? When do you start thinking about, well, should I stop? Should I let go of this? Like, should I keep being? Do I want to be a sub 500 team 2 years in a row?
I think that they just, like I told you before, they just need to stop letting him make decisions about the team. Hey, we don't need a team with 5 superstars on it. It's not an all-star game.
Do they need to trade him?
I think he should go and finish in Cleveland.
I don't. Regardless of where he should finish, I read some stuff about it this week. It's probably beneficial to the Lakers. Trading LeBron James gets you
anything you want for the most part.
Yeah, maybe a contending team.
Listen, obviously the players and their actual contributions to the game aside, I like to see the Lakers not do well.
Okay.
I don't want to sit here and root for LeBron's downfall, but I also do like to see him not do well.
Agreed. But
just how it is.
My question is more.
No, I know. I
don't like to bring because I know where.
No, I got you.
But
in order for
where you think you would be,
for instance, right? Like we wanted the Bulls to go and make it to the finals. Somebody got to lose. We need somebody to perform shit so that we can perform great. I don't really care specifically what the Lakers think they would get in exchange for LeBron. I think LeBron has made decisions that he thought would be beneficial for his
brand.
Not necessarily his brand. I think if anything, it probably hurt his brand, in my opinion. But I look at things a little bit differently than today's younger fan, who's watching LeBron go out there and succeed. I think that he made decisions that he thought would bring him more titles, maybe some more notoriety on the free agency block, whatever, decisions, whatever he thought when he made some of these decisions. But I do think that the people who were on the team were largely influenced by his choosing.
Okay.
Since the beginning of his NBA career, he's been able to put a team on his back for the most part, right? Even if it didn't necessarily bring him a ring that year, he's been able to be the leading force that brought them to the playoffs, that put them in a winning season, whatever. If you call a winning season up above 500, whatever, he did that, right? I think.
Technically, I guess that is considered a winning season. I think in a more specific
Well, it's subjective.
A winning season is probably going to the playoffs at least.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, and in the West, it's a little bit different. But it's subjective.
Yes.
I remember before the Lakers, he was always on the East anyway. He had a clear path to the freaking playoffs every year, regardless, even if he didn't make it to the finals. I think what happened to him to a degree is that he surrounded himself with superstars in Miami. Winning wasn't maybe necessarily the easiest, but it was easy, right? Like, it was easier. He had pieces that they had a plan, and they were able to put the plan together after getting swept the first year, which I liked. And he was just like, yo, and this is easier than like having to put the team on my back and do it myself. So like for the rest of my career here, I'd like to have like some all-stars playing with me. And I think that's not always going to work, and it's been to his detriment lately.
Yeah.
So I think if you put him on a squad with maybe like a point guard who is efficient, and maybe a secondary scoring option, and the rest role players, like things used to be back in the day, I think he might flourish better. You know, I think he can. There's too many. When you have too many people who want to make the play, when you have too many people who need the ball in their hand, the people who are used to having, however many possessions every game, the people who are used to taking however many shot attempts every game.
I think a big portion of why they're not as good is Anthony Davis.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, unfortunately, he's Mr. Glass.
But even with him, if you had him on the bench the entire time, they would still have these issues, I think.
No, but if you had him playing at the clip he should be playing, it would be a different story.
You see DeMarcus Cousins said he wants to help the Kings go back to the playoffs?
Anyway, the Lakers, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know. It would be crazy to see them trade him by the trade deadline. That would be insane to see.
I think if he leaves the Lakers, it's his decision. I think they would be more likely to trade the rest of the pieces.
That's fair.
And I think he should. I think he should go back to a small market team. Cleveland would be the optimal decision, even though like he's played with their emotions like a yo-yo for the entirety of his career. Well, after he left the first time anyway. I think he should go back there. On some Tom Brady shit. My family lives here. I can go back to chilling with them, working with Bronny, whatever.
Yeah, but
Bronny's actually not.
Who wants to use their twilight years and be in Cleveland? Even if you're from
Who wants
there.
to be in Cleveland ever? But if you're from there, that's different.
If you're from there. Listen, I don't want to spend my retirement years in Chicago.
I mean, I get it. He went from Cleveland to Miami, which was like, why wouldn't you want to be in Miami? And then he was like, all right, if I'm going to leave Miami, I'm going to go to Los Angeles.
To Cleveland.
Like, why am I going to? Well, yeah, he did. And then he wanted to make a point there. That was a career, like, I need to make a point here.
That was a career statement.
That was the height of my respect for LeBron. But anyway, we can move on from LeBron. We've talked enough about him.
Yes,
You know how I feel about
all that. Got anything else you want to talk about?
Nah, I think
we gave the Shoe Freaks an hour and 35 minutes.
You dirty shoe-loving sons of bitches.
You cheap fucks. We have a Patreon, bitch.
This is why I told you before, man. We should put the Cash App on the bottom of the screen. And if you want to make requests...
This is our Cash App. Where the cash at?
I don't know if you can do this on YouTube, but I think you might be able to put it where you can, like, put it.
There's
add
membership
tips.
on
So, like, if you want to make requests, then you just got to add a tip.
There's membership.
And if we don't deem it a big enough tip, then your request will not be fulfilled.
Oh, we could do lives. Let's get it. You shoe fucking freaks. If you don't get us to 1,000 subscribers. Anyway.
This is why Sam stop saying that he loves you at the end of the podcast.
Yeah, I don't know if it's true anymore. Anyway, we got sneakers.
Of course. Let's talk directly to them today. I got these Crazy 8 Bulls edition on, Put one on this side and one on this side, so all y'all can see it.
Nice.
You got like the Benny the Bull fur on the inside, you got the little tie-dye thing, whatever.
Yeah.
So this is one of the very few Adidas pairs that I have, as we were talking about that last week.
Sure.
So, so I put these on. What do you got?
I broke something out a little different.
A little different, no fire
week.
reds.
Well, they are red, but no, they're the flu games. I think these are 2015s, 2015, 2016. I think 2015. Flu game, 12s.
Dope, definitely a dope sneaker.
Yeah, so I decided to bring these out. Never seen a blue.
This was the only other. That's the only other one that I was gonna force him to give up for those court purples.
It's just I don't think I would have done it. I like these a lot.
Now you even offered them.
Huh?
You offered them at
Did
the
I
time.
offer it? Man,
Yeah.
Can't believe I did.
Yeah, you lucky I let you slide with
I'm
that.
glad you did, but you actually got a shoe that's worth more. That shit's like $2-something. These.
Yeah, but like sentimentally, I like the flu games more. But
Let's see really quickly. I just want to see because I mean it's used, but I just like to see. So if we look up Master 12s, they are a size 12. That's 11 and a half. 540. Wow.
nice.
Brand new. Flu game 12s are probably, they might be a little bit more. Maybe not though.
Dope had my shoe game. Luke Kane, Jordan 12, sick as hell. Michael
This is
Jordan, flu
2016.
game.
Oh, 504. So about the same.
Huh.
Yep.
Yeah, nah, I fucks with them.
And then I got the Taxi 12s as well.
Let's run a 12 gambit here. I was trying to decide what I was gonna put on. I almost threw on the 11s today, but I was like, what I was gonna wear with them wasn't the same level of blue. When it's just like, you gotta be. You know.
Oh shit, $707.
Damn.
Yeah.
Sometimes you look at things that you have and you're like, man, I wish I ain't opened.
I know, man. Part of me's like, damn, if I had.
What are you saying, 4-year-old version? It's just, it loses
honestly,
the value if you open the box.
if I hadn't opened these yet, the 12s, probably would use them as trade bait for something by now. I would have used them for like maybe a band one or Chicago one.
I should see what those gym red up tempos are worth because there's
You
only
haven't
one
touched
that I
them
haven't. Yeah, well, I have two pairs, one that I have and one that I have not.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure that they're worth value. They got trade block. I was thinking about putting some on trade block. I don't know, man. Anyway, That being said.
Yeah, man.
They don't know.
I just enjoyed the scratch. You know, as the first drop.
They don't know. They couldn't possibly fucking know.
Anyway, welcome, not welcome, at end here. Thank you all for tuning in to the Kasson Avenue podcast. This has been episode number 159. It has been a treat to give you shoe loving people what you want, you know? A treat. He doesn't think so, but he's been putting his feet right in the camera for you. I have been your host, Adam, here with my brother Osama, of course, and shit's been crazy, man. So we'll be back for 160 next week. Make sure you hit us on all them socials and whatnots.
Yep.
And subscribe here. Don't just degrade us for free.
And if you really wanted the greatest, you could pay for it on Patreon.
The women got wise to that, and that's when OnlyFans became a thing.
Yep.
All right, man. We'll catch y'all later.
Later.